Welcome to Daily 5 for Wednesday, June 18th, 2025. For the next edition of Len Kabasinski's Forgotten Movie Den, we're doing a Richard Norton special because Richard Norton died, I think, earlier this year, along with Wings Hauser, which we have already done a Forgotten Movie Den spotlight episode for. But as part of that episode, I'm not going to talk about the movies themselves. I'm going to save that for the actual Forgotten Movie Den. But two of the films that we talk about in that movie are 1987's Equalizer 2000, starring, of course, Richard Norton, and 1992's Raiders of the Sun, also starring Richard Norton. Both films directed by, I never remember how to pronounce this name correctly. Let's see. It is Sirio, I believe, H. Santiago. Now, the films themselves, to look at them, and read the descriptions, are basically Mad Max ripoff films, of which there were many in the 80s and early 90s. So that is not anything uncommon. And again, the plots of the films, not going to get into that, but I hadn't watched, I know Equalizer 2000, I probably haven't seen in 10 years. Raiders of the Sun, probably a little bit less than that, but it had been at least 5 years since I've seen that one because it popped up on one of the Tubi recommendations or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, let me watch that. I was going through and watching a number of Cynthia Rothrock films. Richard Norton is in a few of those, and so I was just kind of plugging away through them. But in any event, I hadn't watched the two of them in a while, and I don't know that I've ever watched them back to back. So in watching them, it has become very apparent to me. I mean, this is a rare case, and I don't say this as a criticism, but I don't know that I've watched two movies, one after another, that are so clearly the exact same movie again, and not just in terms of plot. I mean, repetition of plot is very common. I want to be very specific. These are not sequels to each other. You might think they are, at first, actually supposed to be related films. In fact, in many ways, it would have made more sense if Equalizer 2000 had been a prequel to Raiders of the Sun, because Richard Norton plays basically the same character in both, but with different names. That's how I know it's not a sequel. And the main villain is played not only by the same actor, but basically, for all intents and purposes, I'm pretty sure he's wearing the exact same outfit with very minor cosmetic updates and alterations in the second film. And they repeat an exact car stunt from one to the other. I mean, it's the exact shot. They just reused it. And both films reuse footage from an earlier film called The Wheels of Fire, I believe. I had read that the trivia that both of these movies repurpose footage of other, as far as I know, Santiago films. It is amazing, though, how similar these two are. Now, like I said, the plots are very similar, but all the armies, they all have the same outfits. They have the same character types in many cases. Interestingly, I think both movies have certain strengths the other doesn't, which is sort of odd, but it makes them a great pairing. But I mean, when I tell you that at first, because I didn't remember how similar, obviously there's so many of these types of films that a lot of them, I'll be honest, kind of blend together for me. So, you show me little bits and footage of something, I might not remember which of the many of these types of films I've seen in my life, because there are so many that are so similar. In fact, I'm pretty sure there was just a stable of wastelandified cars that all these movies use, because I've seen similar cars all over the place. And why reuse them? Why remake new cars? You could just reuse the ones from the other films. They all look really good. It's actually one of my favorite things about these movies is what they do to the cars. That's one of the highlights. But I don't know that I've watched two movies closely together like this that were essentially the same movie, to the point where they're using the same actors in the same types of roles, in the same outfits in many cases. And it really is just, I don't say this with any negativity. I loved it. I was just laughing out loud audibly at how much these movies were basically the same. It is the kind of audacity I love out of low-budget films, where they don't care, they reuse footage, they redo the same movie, it just doesn't matter, especially movies 5 years apart. It's not like they were all that far apart. And the sad part is, I wish they had actually been related films. They would have been great as prequel-sequel setup, but in any event, they're both on Tubi. They're both free to watch. Raiders of the Sun. Watch Equalizer 2000 first, then watch Raiders of the Sun. You could watch them in reverse order because, and this is what I'm talking about, they're basically the same movie, and I love it. Later.